big welcome to you as we move into Series 3 of the video series Living Purposefully into Your Very Own Story. Today it will be Experience 21, and this is one aspect of how my very own interweaving story rubs shoulders with mystery as I'm invited to grow into inner freeing and harmony. So in Experience 1, we're doing 3 things. We'll be introducing Series 3. We'll have a very brief review of Experiences 11 to 20. And then we'll do the basic presentation for Experience 21, which will be an invitation to a brief being present to you in your skin. This brief summary picks up what we dealt with in more detail in Series 2. We don't name it, first of all, as a conscious awareness, but when we make space and step back, we know that we have a never-ending patterning which is going on. We can pause it, but it's there if we don't pause it. Deeper than that, there's another part of us, when we make a pause, where we will be in touch with invitational arisings. I've called them tingles, clangs, inklings and nudges. And this is where our invitation to become our best self arises. And deeper still, there are deep self-realities and dream energy realities, sleeping dreams and waking dreams. And as we dealt with in Series 2, this is a part of us that invites us to engage in a serious dialogue with mystery, or the more than that we experience in life and living. And in this 3rd series, we will be zeroing in on how this dialogue happens, how we pick up the tingles and clangs, and what the tingles and clangs are inviting us to as we're invited to become our very best self. And mostly, that's beyond our dreaming. So, it's a surprise to arrive at the mix in our lives, and all of us have this, of struggle, pain, and every ill. Again, in Series 2, we named some of the specific ones: grief, loss, need, hunger, injustice, isolation, fear, sadness, confusion, distress, pining, despairing. There are more, but these are the common ones. And there's another level of pain or struggle or experience of every ill. And this is a vague discontent of some kind, a sense that there's more to life than we are experiencing in this moment. And so this 3rd series deals with these awareness levels of discomfort as being the starting point for what I called in Series 2 an epic journeying cycle. And here's another summary of what we did in Series 2. So we have a first survival strategy for how we cope with what we don't see as being perfect in our world. And as we use that over and over and over and over, that pattern gets to be in overdrive. That is, we use it when it's not really appropriate. And so an epic journeying cycle is how I named a starting invitation which will bring balance back, that it will balance the overdrive part and bring us back to what is healthy for us. So again, as a part of the revision, I will go over what I called an epic journeying cycle, and they repeat over and over in our lives. First of all, there's a call beyond our conscious knowing and experience. Then we hear the invitation And even though it's scary and still got something of a pleasurable outcome in it, we set out. And once we set out, we will experience struggles along the way. But we're not left alone. There will be some help along the way too. And in the end, something will be left behind and something new will come to birth. So here are the 6 stages of an epic journeying cycle. And this is my note to you. Each epic journeying cycle is a stage in our onward inner journeying to inner freeing and harmony. That is another way of saying coming to enjoy our best self. Again, in Series 2, I had these metaphors for stages of awareness. We don't know till afterwards, but we come to stages of just coasting along. Everything feels comfortable. And then some confusion or discomfort or some strong invitation comes, and we're called to move out of that comfort of the coasting along. And when we go through the struggles and embrace the help that comes, we will come to a new sense of freeing and harmony. We'll be in new birth of something that's good for us, and we will have left something that's not so good for us behind. And so I'm just presenting another way of explaining these stages of awareness and the outcomes and what happens in our experience. When an epic journeying cycle flags its appearance and continues through its whole, we will be drawn inwards to our best self. And when we get to recognise what a call onwards is, and we stay with it, the light at the end of the tunnel will be gold, and there'll be fear about moving into the new territory. And then at the end, when we've moved into the new territory, we will have a sense of freeing and harmony in the new patterns that we've introduced into our lives. So, a summary of where we've been up to the end of Series 2, Experience 20. Being in intimate dialogue with the mystery of life, or the more than us energy, through living more consciously into our very own epic journeying cycles, deepens our capacity for inner freeing and harmony. And so, in this 3rd series, Experiences 21 to 30, we learn more about nurturing and expanding our inner balance and growth by opening ourselves to rubbing shoulders consciously with mystery. Consciously is the benefit of staying with these experiences. So we're coming to the first aspect. And the first aspect is that we become more aware of who I am in my skin. Actually, it's an invitation to you to become more open to who you are in your skin. So what can you expect out of this experience? For all of us, at a particular phase of our living, we come to sense. We are invited to become more aware of a deep, private part of us. And maybe a second level of that is that we find out that we've got a capacity for this part of us to become an inner sanctuary. Actually, it is already an inner sanctuary. It's that we're not aware of it yet. So this experience is to help you to become more aware of the inner sanctuary that is already within you. And so, here is a metaphor, a single lily. I invite you, I'm giving you a little space to let who you are be spoken to by what this lily presents. Noel Davis actually picks up the truth of this universal truth for all of us in a poem called A Sanctuary of Soul. In a culture of noise, rush, sensory assault, virtual reality, blurred boundaries, denial, deception, the unrelenting drag and drain of anxiety and stress, the flight from solitude and relating. Isn't that most of the story for most of us, for most of our life? And Noel goes on to say what we can do about it. The joy of inner quiet we create together, that's us and our inner sanctuary, calls us aside to go inside, reconnects us to ourselves. And he adds yet more. A place where we find nourishment in the all-devouring desert of disconnection, disillusion, despair. Isn't that a pretty good picture of what we experience in life? And this experience now will invite us to stay with that middle section of what Noel Davis was explaining about the truths of who we are. And now I'll read the poem through for you. A Sanctuary of Soul. In a culture of noise, rush, sensory assault, virtual reality, blurred boundaries, denial, deception, the unrelenting drag and drain of anxiety and stress, the flight from solitude and relating, the joy of inner quiet we create together calls us aside to go inside and reconnects us to ourselves. A place where we find nourishment in the all-devouring desert of disconnection, disillusion, despair. So the essence of this experience, 21, is that we will go into an experiential way to further a call onwards. And actually, these steps that I'm describing now, you will be given an opportunity to actually do in each of experiences 21 to 30. So here's the process, the stages of the process. Breathe deeply a few times. I'll be inviting you to take the breath in, and as you take the breath in, you will be taking in the healing of the universe. And then imagine it going through your body, bringing goodness, good experiences, good qualities to all the parts of your body. And then as you breathe out, see it collecting the toxins to release back into the universe, which will then be transformed. And I'll be inviting you to breathe deeply a few times until you have a quiet space within, because that is what happens. And then when you have your quiet space within, I'll be inviting you to release a question in your deeper self and to let a phrase that I will be reading to you, a phrase for what would be an answer to this question, resonate in your being. And then I will be inviting you to let what resonates with you express itself in body movements. And then, as the phrase and the movement become one, and the movement actually takes over, I will be inviting you to allow your body to exaggerate the movement. And then I will be inviting you to let the feelings generated by the exaggerated movements come to a pose. And then there'll be an invitation to you to set the phrase and the pose in your sensory memory. Now, I know from practice that these steps are a way to open ourselves to the wisdom within us, which is available to us through emotional intelligence. This kind of information is not available through analysis in our head. And our culture does not invite us to engage emotional intelligence in this way. It's something that we have to decide to make the space for it to happen. And so, in this first experience of this set that I just gave, we will be looking at healthy qualities that are in our sanctuary of soul that we may not be aware of yet. So in your being, release the question, what would I like more of? And just listen quietly as you're standing and releasing that question to this set of phrases. Dignified poise, focused diligence, gracefully precise, deliberate focus, permission to play, laugh at myself, composed and calm, patient with myself, inner grace, take myself lightly, like myself as I am, being balanced, upright and noble, effortless confidence, calm acceptance, unhurried. Now, if one of those has stayed with you, let it resonate. If none stayed with you, choose either unhurried or dignified poise. Or perhaps another one arose for you. So armed with one phrase, let that resonate in your being. And as it resonates, let your body take up movement to express the feelings that are with that phrase. Let the movement just happen so that the phrase and the word become one. And when the movement has become flowing, exaggerate the movements, using height and depth and force and lack of force, gentleness and flow. Exaggerate the movement so that the movement gets more of your awareness than the word, but they are still united. And when the time is right for you, come to a pose which gathers together an expression of the feelings that you've just experienced. And now, set in your sensory memory your pose and your phrase. And so, there are ways in which you can use this phrase and pose. You could repeat it after today. You could repeat it when you feel bereft inside, or when you feel that you need something to give you a little oomph. You could go down the list and go over the exercise again. And so, here's a summary of Experience 21. Today, in Experience 21, I gave you invitations to become more aware of a deep, private part of you that has the capacity to become more real as your inner sanctuary. And we will then move into Experience 22. And in Experience 22, you will be invited to become more aware of senses of discomfort within our deeper selves and in life and living. And I have 2 notes about this. Quite often, these senses of discomfort are the first step of an invitation to embrace a call onwards in journeying to inner freeing and harmony. And this will stretch our present inner experience and will move us from older patterns to new patterns. And just a little note about putting it into the epic journeying process. Embracing a call onwards is a second phase of an epic journeying cycle, which eventually could lead to a deeper level of inner freeing and harmony. And so I thank you for taking part and being really right in the movement for Experience 21.